Imagine having an AI-powered search engine for candidate profiles from across the open web and even from within your own ATS. Well, that's exactly what HireTool is. HireTool is a global talent platform that serves all recruiters, from small businesses to the world's largest enterprises. And with 750 million plus profiles from over 45 open web sources and channels and 30 plus integration partners, there's literally something for everyone. Recruiters can find more talent with AI sourcing, send unlimited emails, and integrate with your favorite recruitment tools all in one platform. If you're spending hours looking for qualified candidates, underrepresented talent, and updated contact information, then HireTool is probably what you need for your toolkit. HireTool is a platform that helps great recruiters accomplish more every single day. Check them out at hiretool.com. Hey everybody, HR Famous, the podcast is back. I think Jessica, a couple of podcasts ago, you said it's not FOT Nation. FOT Nation, it's HR Famous Nation. It's getting, I hear more and more on like a weekly basis from people that go, oh my God, I listened to the pod. And it's usually like positive stuff about Jessica. But like more and more people are listening. So the numbers continue to increase. We love that. So, hey, I'm with Jessica Lee and Chris Dunn. You guys, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, especially if you're saying that all the great feedback is about me. So yeah,
right?
I'm doing well.
KD?
I'm good, Tim.
Yeah.
It's another day. Blessed.
You sound a little tired. Would you get up early again today? Was it the second time in like 2 weeks you got up early?
I'm in and out of the 5 a.m. thing. So yeah, it might be that way today. But I'm good, right? I'm blessed. Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. So at the beginning of the pandemic, we heard from a lot of small cities, like all over, like mostly the Midwest or let's say less desirable places to live, offering money to digital nomads to come move into your city, buy a house, and then they would give you $10,000, $15,000. I say this because there was a county here in Michigan that's right on Lake Michigan. So actually beautiful beaches, great kind of cost of living. And they were offering $15,000 and they have said, okay, we have enough money in the county. We're going to do this for 75 people. We're going to give $15,000 for them to come. They had to buy a house or buy property or something. Right. And so this was like, I think 6 months ago they started it and they have gotten one person to come and take this money. So my question to you is, if we're going to say, let's just say it's this Berrien County, Michigan, right? On the shores of Lake Michigan, you're going to have 6 months of winter, but you're going to have an amazing summer. How much money would they have to offer you guys to move from your current location to that location?
It depends. Like, yeah. Are you talking us at a younger age or us like with
now it's a little bit different. I mean, you got to kind of put yourself who they're going after, right? They're trying to increase their population with young, viable talent that's going to like be there, grow their family and create roots, right? So think of yourself as a mid-20 something. How much, what would that price tag look for you?
1 year payback?
I think it's a 2 year payback.
2 year payback. 20,000 gets it done.
Yeah.
And if it's the right location, I think about it for 10 if I'm 25.
Because 20 probably pays the mortgage for a full year, right? You're getting a full year of mortgage paid to come live someplace else. I don't know, Jay.
10 to 20. If I'm in my mid-20s, I would have done it for 10 to 20. But I think the other play would be like, if it's not cash, like get me an apartment and like let me live rent-free for, I don't know, a year or whatever. Like, I think there's other perks beyond just the cash where like I think I would have been willing to do it.
They're trying to grow. They're trying to get people to actually buy something because they know if you buy a house, you're more likely to put in roots. Part of that is it's kind of a bait and switch. Like, hey, we're going to have you buy this great $70,000 house that you think is like the most amazing deal. And then you come to find out after you buy it and live there for 2 years, that it's going to take you 3 years to sell it because nobody else wants to live there either. But the problem I think they're having is that every little podunk county or city is losing population And we talk about how hard it is to hire right now. That's part of our demographics. Right? We're starting to slowly turn into Japan. We're turning into an older population. We're not replacing our workers, to the amount that they're dying. Right? We don't have we have fewer babies than those who are passing away, and so we have this kind of systemic issue that's going to continue to really haunt us for the next probably 2 to 3 decades. In Japan's, they're in the midst of this now. And so it's a really kind of bad problem, but all these small towns are dying. They're turning into ghost towns because they can't get people to live there. I don't know what you do. If you guys have any ideas, like share it with all the small towns in America.
Well, you go the route of, let's say, like certain little towns in Italy, right, where they will sell a house or a villa for dirt cheap, right? And then you
just heard about this, Jessica. I just heard about this like 2 weeks ago.
No, I need to look into it more, because then you buy it and the ask is that you need to renovate and like invest in like revitalizing. And so depending on where you are in your life, I think that's interesting. I would love to have a villa.
So you can get you could get a villa for $1, but then like the stipulations are within 12 months you have to spend like $100,000, right, in a renovation.
Hey, does Southwest fly to Italy?
No, I don't think so.
That's a joke, Tim. Thank you, though, for taking it seriously.
I mean, maybe you might be able to get him to I don't know. They're not leaving. Yeah.
I'm just imagining this poor little Sicilian grandma trying to get on her flight to Italy, and like all these aggressive Americans are pushing her out of the way as they're trying to like get to the front of the line for whatever their number is. And this poor little Sicilian grandma just, poor thing.
All right, guys. I have 2 quick things we'll share with you guys today, and we'll get out any reaction. So the first one, it's all about trust. Do you guys trust me? I think it's one of the things I
sure.
Thanks, Katie. That was it sounded like you really trust me. It's one of the things I think as a friend that I hold trust very. Like if someone, like if you guys like played a game on me and you're like, hey, JLee, or Katie was like, Tim, I'm going to tell you something about Jay, but you can't tell anybody. I hold that shit like really personal. Like I will hold that. Like you guys couldn't pull that over on me. And
someone who's a vault. I love that.
Because I think, and probably because like when I was younger, maybe I wasn't like that. Like I think a lot of young people are just like, oh, my friend told me this. I'm going to tell you, but don't tell anybody. And within 13 seconds, everybody in the world knows the secret. And I can't stand that. So and maybe it's the HR person in me too. Like I just hold that stuff. Anyways, so there was a company that did a big survey around kind of returning to work and in like this, I guess, what do we call it? Like the strategy around companies have, if like you're going to have remote workers, how do you actually know if they're doing work? And so they kind of went out and did this kind of like trends, gaps, pain points around these employee relationships, employer relationships. So I got 3 stats. And I'll have you guys react to each one. The first one they came up with was 76% of employees who use computers fear that their boss monitors their communication. Have you guys ever had a fear that your boss was monitoring your communication?
Only when I'm saying something bad about that boss.
You're waiting for it.
Oops.
Katie?
No, I've never thought about that.
No, I never have at all. I'm shocked by that number, Tim.
There's no way to me that 3/4 of people and this isn't like, a few thousand people. So statistically it's valid. Like 3/4 of people think that their boss is like, I have a number of employees and I would never, I wouldn't say I would never think about going into their email box. One, I would not know how. I would have to call someone from IT and we'd have to go through this whole thing, right? Give me access to someone's email. But I don't have time for that crap. Like I don't have time for that. If I don't think they're doing their job, I'm going to get rid of them. If I think they're doing amazing, I'm going to tell them like, I'm not going to go into their email and go, oh my God, are they talking about me? Or what are they saying about this? Are they sharing, data, blah, blah, blah. I will tell you the one time we had someone break a non-compete, we actually had a computer. There's like auditing firms that will take a laptop and do an analysis. And we actually found out that employee was actually sharing data with a competitor.
Ooh.
And so it's like one of those things where you go, well, crap, maybe we should be monitoring communications.
Yeah, and Tim, that begs the question: if you were going to do that with today's technology, you wouldn't do it by saying, "Hey, I'm going into Tim's email, like I'm monitoring Tim's email." You do like keyword search, right?
Mhm.
And you would like search for keywords, like a competitor, for example. And then you would like try and get some type of web traffic or email traffic, and you'd work with your IT flunky to find the best path to do that in the most efficient fashion possible. Now that I think about it,
Do you guys think so? Like,
what?
are people responding in that way because they literally think their boss may be looking at their email, or are they assuming that there's like monitoring software and things that are trying to either look for keywords or see your volume of like big attachments being sent to external email addresses? Like, do you think they literally think like their boss is gonna read their email? I wonder, like, what's the psyche of people?
Well, I mean, there's part of this is like I blame HR, and us being part of HR, I blame HR people by going, oh, it's work product. Remember, everything you do is work product, so that email is not yours. Blah blah blah. And there's enough horror stories where someone said like, oh, I was having an affair with someone in the office and sent a message, and then I got fired because my boss found the email. And you're like, did that really happen? Or did your boss know you were just having an affair and then had someone go back in and like put two and two together? But like, I'm like, most of the time, I don't think bosses or companies are really monitoring. I think they do what like you're saying, as I think they probably have systems in IT that are like, hey, somebody just downloaded 400 gigs of information. We better check and see what's going on. There's like some of that stuff.
So what would be super interesting is to get the crosstab. So what Jessica is bringing up is she's going straight to like the master she is. She's going straight to the validity of the way the item was written, right? On the survey.
Yeah.
So she's saying, well, did the question really like frame it? So an interesting crosstab would be like next question after however that was written.
Mm-hmm.
And having responded, yes, I believe my employer is monitoring me, or like my boss is checking my emails. I care. Yes or no?
Yeah, right.
Because it kind of goes back to, so, I looked up, I looked up the NBA draft. Like I spent 30 minutes on a mock draft. Come and get me. Like what, I'm a decent performer. Do I care? I think that's the interesting part too.
So so that KD leads to one of the other stats, which was 64% have gone as far as to delete their entire browser history to hide lack of productivity. Which again, I think, I know I have worked for companies that like, I remember KD has loved Applebee stories. We were trying to recruit on Facebook, and I got a message from the IT department, copied my boss, that said, hey, like Tim spent like 3 hours and 7 minutes on Facebook in the last week during work hours. And she had to go back and say, she's like, hey dude, like I know you're doing this stuff. Like, how do I respond so that, we can get him off your back kind of thing or whatever. But I just thought that was like, wow, okay. Hey, and again, work computer, whatever, like, okay.
Hey, the other thing about that, Jessica, and I'm sure you've done this before, like if you think about like somebody going in and clearing their browser history, have you ever looked at your browser history like over an hour that you were just like scanning around? Like it's monumental. It looks like Mount Rushmore, like for an hour.
It does.
It's like the most shameful, embarrassing hour of your life looking at least for me, looking at all the things that I've looked up. Because some of it is like legitimate goofing off during a conference call because like it's like my eyes are going to fall out of my head and I need to do something else. But some of it is also like embarrassing on my own behalf, where like I'll be looking up the meaning of a word that's very basic, but I don't know what people are talking about because of my poor education. And I just, so some of it's really bad. Some of it's really bad.
That's the classic meme, like, right? Like, before I die, I wanted someone to delete my browsing history. But isn't that the most guilty thing ever too? Like, if you actually got an employee's computer and they had no browsing history, you'd be like, you are definitely guilty.
Google, like, it'll show a Google search string, Chinese synchronized swimming plus male grooming.
KD has that right now.
like these people are not very smart. Like, if you want to delete your browsing history because you've been doing things that you shouldn't be doing, like, aren't like the browsers all have private browsing mode? Just do that if you're really trying to hide what you're doing. Like, come on,
have your
get
own laptop.
with it, people.
Or
do it on your phone.
The phone is your burner thing, right? I mean, Tim, what's your take on how many employers now have control over phones? Not very many, right? Especially where they could have like browser history and stuff like that.
No, I think we went through that time of people like, hey, you're going to get a phone assigned to you. And then it was like, well, now I'm carrying two phones because I'm going to have personal calls and I don't want my, employer. And then I think employers just went with like, hey, we're going to pay you so much per month if we
give
require
you 25, 50 bucks a month, just go do it. Hey, both of you probably remember this. JLee, you're probably like right on the ridge of this. But from an IT perspective, do you remember the controversy that was brought in, like with an iPhone?
Choose your device and which device? Oh,
well, no, they didn't want to give up BlackBerry.
Like, when are we getting the iPhone?
Yeah.
And there were security concerns. It's just funny that, for the most part, Apple turns out to be the most secure platform. Yeah. And our companies are like getting like pillaged by phishing expeditions, and
because IT had like the BlackBerry servers like on the premise, right? So they already paid for all this and they knew what it was, and they're like, "Oh, this is the most secure thing," and then come to find out it wasn't the most secure thing. But whatever.
Hey, this is William Tincup, and you should know about the You Should Know podcast. It's a topical, fun podcast with Ron, myself, and a guest, or guests plural sometimes, and we tackle the most timely topics of the day. Give it a look, give it a listen, and subscribe. Thanks.
Well, wait, I have a question for you guys. Speaking of like trust and violating people's privacy, and because you brought up like cell phone bills, like, a lot of companies now will just reimburse you for like up to a certain dollar amount or whatever. And maybe I'm going to get in trouble someday for saying this, but like, so when I'm approving expense reports and seeing people's phone bills, like, is it wrong of me to judge some of my teammates and team members for the cost of their monthly phone bill? Like, I've said to one of them before, like, why is your phone bill so expensive? You need to get on a different plan. Like, is that like, am I overstepping my bounds?
No, I think you should be judging, because to
me, financially responsible to be like,
I think it's cognitive ability, right? Like, if you're so dumb to have like a phone bill that's $300 a month, then you should be fired, right? Like, come on, be smarter. I'm going to definitely judge you on that. Like, I'm not approving a $300 cell phone bill. I will fire you before I approve that bill, because you're just stupid.
Okay, well, I won't use those words, but thanks for the permission. Okay.
All right. Last stat, and then we'll move on. 50. No, so think about messaging now as we went pandemic, Slack, Teams, all those. So 53% admitted to deleting Slack or team messages so that their employers couldn't see them like after. So like, you send somebody a message and then you delete the entire conversation. I've never deleted a conversation on Teams or Slack. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah. You're backbiting people in the back channel is what you're doing, right?
For sure. Yeah. It's something they wouldn't want to come out, right? But they're like, oh, I think it's cool on this work communication platform that I'm going to bust somebody.
Right. The hard part is when somebody does that and they make it public instead of like one-to-one communication.
Yeah.
Seen that happen multiple times. Yeah. And maybe it wasn't like a real, like, didn't singe somebody, but you knew it's like one-on-one and you're like, it's a bad look. Hate to see it.
For sure.
I mean, there's no illusion of privacy. And also, how much are we all sharing our screens these days where like something is going to like pop up either on your screen or someone else's screen? So like, if you don't want it to be seen, just don't say it on Teams. Like I've seen this happen so many times where like a chat pops up and you're like, oh, well, I get chats from you guys sometimes from text messages where I'm like, oh gosh, like hide it. They're texting me.
It's one of my joys of life is when I know KD is doing corporate training, like I send him pictures via text that nobody should send, just so I'm hoping that pop up on his screen.
So that's what I was going to talk about.
Yes.
I think JLee's had that where she's been like, rather than presenting in the application, she just shows her whole screen and the toast just starts like popping from us, like in the back channel. It's like 39 straight. It's just like wham, wham, wham.
You can't shut it down.
I'm going to get around. Hey, true story. I was delivering results of some consulting to a client. Client will remain nameless. Good client, good people. Had one person that, for whatever reason, didn't know it before, wasn't into the whole Chris Dunn thing.
This guy's an asshole.
I imagine that, right? But so that's fine, right? There's acquired taste everywhere. So Jessica and Tim, so I get there to deliver results. And Jessica, I don't know if you know her, but Jennifer Hoffer, who's a project manager for me, 9-year Kinetics employee. Like there's no one who doesn't like Jen Hoffer. She's awesome. Tim, you know her a little bit, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
Just great people. Great employee. So we go to the corporate headquarters and for whatever reason, I can't get my Mac to get on their screen. Big deal. So the marketing leader, not the marketing leader, but the person who was in charge of our engagement said, hey, that's fine. Send me the slides. You'll just use mine. So we did that. So I'm using her laptop and like literally this was unemployment branding to folks. So like literally I gave, like I'm going through the deck, like final results of like an audit we did. And I honestly, I'll say it was 30 seconds. I might have given like a 1 and 20-second description of just some budget like considerations for recruiting on Facebook. And all of a sudden, like there was like one of those toast things from a message perspective that popped up. Remember, this is somebody like in the rooms, like computer and somebody else coming in. And they were like, OMG, does he not know what we think Facebook is? And I'm presenting. So we're like in a small horseshoe and like I'm looking at the screen and it pops up there like, 1/10 of the screen, like above the slides. And like it's funny when stuff like that happens because I felt this little whoosh. I felt this little rush
of red. Blood.
I felt this little rush for about like a second and a half, and I'm mid-sentence when I see it. And like a pro, I just continued on.
Oh, you didn't? I would have definitely addressed it. I would have said, no, I know what you guys know. I would have said like, hey, Frankie, is that who sent this to me? Hey, Frankie, I know.
Which one of you rat finks?
Wait, is the whoosh feeling, was it like what feeling was it? Was it like were you mortified?
Like like the blood running to your head, JLee.
But no, was it like oh no, this is embarrassing for her, embarrassing for me, like oh this is so funny, like I'm just trying to interpret what exactly the whoosh was.
It was more of a wow, that's immediate feedback. and I've got to make a split second decision of what to do. And
I hope she's listening. She's probably the one that stopped subscribing to us when Tim.
By the way, she came back to me like about 12 hours later via email with the apology.
Okay. All right. That's big of the person. No.
Yeah, she didn't really have a choice, right? I mean, her text went to the screen in front of like 10 people.
KD, you were
and
so
I was
much
well
more
liked by the team, by the way.
You were so much more professional than I am because I would have dug right into that comment. Oh, that's funny. All right.
I don't know why she didn't like you. Huh.
Yeah, go figure.
KD was changing her world. That's why she didn't like him. Hey, all right. So as we go on with this trust thing, LinkedIn, and they have a CEO, a new CEO. It used to be Jeff Weiner for a long time. And now Ryan Roslensky is the new CEO. And he put out today on LinkedIn, published an article about LinkedIn's hybrid approach titled "We Trust Each Other." And so they were one of the ones that said like, hey, we're going to, you know what, we're just going to kind of go half and half. We're going to come back to the office half time. And they got some immediate feedback on that. And so they came out, and I'll read it verbatim from his article. Today, we're building on what we've learned and what we've experienced from the Great Reshuffle, and taking a simple but powerful approach to how we work. In bold letters, we trust each other to do our best work where it works best for us and our teams. That's their new policy. We've learned every individual and every team works differently. So moving forward, moving away from a one-size-fits-all policy, we're embracing flexibility with both hybrid remote roles, expecting more of us to be remote than pre-COVID, and removing expectations of being in the office 50% of the time. 87% of our team told us they would like to be in the office sometimes, but we're continuing to invest. And so we're continuing to invest in our workplaces for everyday work and those times that our team wants to come together. So they're basically, they lead with, we trust each other to do our best work where it works best for us and our teams. Reaction.
I want to know so he backpedaled, correct, Tim?
For sure. Yeah, they were going to go 50% in office, and they've kind of backpedaled.
I kind of want to know if he was doing, like, if he was at an all hands online and somebody like texted him or texted like his CHRO whose laptop he borrowed and it came up. I guess the feedback wasn't that immediate, but I mean, that's a vanity play, right? I mean, so it didn't work. They got brushed back. They had like retention concerns, I'm sure. And, he's doing what he should. But the whole, like, we trust each other. You don't really trust you don't trust each other anymore than they do at HRU Technical, right?
No, I think it's
just because you go into the office doesn't mean you trust someone less. It's an approach.
Well, I think their thing is they're saying we trust that if you're not in the office, that you're still doing the work you should be doing, kind of thing.
And we're watching you.
And by the way, we're probably watching you. JLee, what do you think?
I mean, I'm going to applaud it. I really like usage of the word trust, even though they are backpedaling. I just think that, like, it's smart from a comms perspective. It's smart from a PR perspective. Like, they're going to get a lot of equity out of like usage of the word trust, even if it's not real, even if like they are monitoring and have data and, all of that kind of stuff. Like, the fact that they're using the word trust, I think is very powerful. Whether it's real or not, it's another thing, but I think it's a good signal. Like, they're going to, obviously we're talking about it. So I like it. Trust is great.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on in the letter, like in one of the last sentences, is as we managed through the pandemic and all was upended, we saw consistently that leading with our culture of trust, compassion, and accountability always got us to the right answer. And I think when we say we trust each other to do our best work where it works for us and our teams, you don't have to say, oh, by the way, if you don't actually produce, we're going to fire your ass. I think you just say, look, we trust you do the best work, and the rest of it will take care of itself because we have a culture of accountability. So I think it's like, yeah, we're going to treat you like adults. And I think those of you will understand, like, depending on the job, depending on the group, depending on the manager you work for, if you want to get promoted or if you want to move on, you want to get developed, you're going to determine what's best for your career based on that. KD.
I think it's an interesting thing to listen to the approach they took after they got that feedback, and then to contrast it with the long, like, kind of the long reviewed version of Netflix. We're not a family. Mm-hmm. We're like a sports team.
Yeah.
And you do your best work. So to JLee's, I do agree with JLee that I think from a comms perspective, it's important to use words like trust, because both things can be true, right? At Netflix, they lead with, and I don't know like the updated language of this, so I'm doing kind of the legacy thing.
Yeah.
But they say, hey, we're not a family. Like we're a sports team and we have the best people here. That's a harder way to say the same thing. I guess Netflix would say, like buried in that messaging says, we get the best people. Therefore, of course, we trust them. You know, LinkedIn's going a little bit different direction, but I think the contrast between those two approaches is interesting based on what Jessica said. But Jessica, I do agree with you that those words matter and they kind of move the middle portion of the audience in the employee population.
Yeah, I like it. Go ahead.
Like the risk though with this is, you know, I think like similar to what you're saying, Chris, is like they're saying we trust you. And I think that, you know, the more you like build a relationship with people where they feel like there is this level of trust that it's mutual, it's two-way, and they're putting their faith in you, they treat you like they think like, oh, we're a family. Like when you break that trust, like on the reverse side, where you think like, I trust you trust me as an employee and I'm trusting you as my employer to do right by me, to do whatever for me, to provide for me. Like when that trust is broken, like that's when you start to have issues of people feeling like, well, like you've not done well by me. I thought like you cared for me and that you're going to provide for me and blah, blah, blah. And so there's risk with it from that perspective too. It's like you're going a little bit too deep potentially.
And Jessica, I'll say this, and then like, I'll throw it back to Tim. I think that's, you know, we've talked a lot about politics in the workplace, and, you know, embedded with that is everybody's independent version of doing the right thing and how those like versions can differ. And that's where you're seeing people like Shopify trying to separate themselves from the fact that they're a family, right?
Yep.
And maybe moving away from the language like trust. But I do, like, having said all that and hearing you react to it, I think it's effective communication. The fact that accountability is third there, I think that accountability word matters. Mm-hmm. And I think there's other ways that you could coin that, right? You could say performance.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different ways to package all that stuff together.
Yep. All right, everybody. Trust your employees until they give you a reason not to, and then fire them. The new LinkedIn policy. No, I'm just kidding. They said they trust each other. That's great for them. For HR Famous, Chris Dunn, Jessica Lee, I'm Tim Sackett. We will be back next week with another episode. I am out.